I want to talk about social media. The Justice Department is now warning political candidates about the increasing amount of misinformation that's being spread on social media by foreign powers trying to influence our 2024 elections. And recently, U.S. intelligence has disrupted a Russian operation that uses artificial intelligence to spread propaganda here in the United States, with trying to undermine support for the Ukraine. Jenny, this is your area of expertise. So is it worse than ever, or are we just finding it more quickly?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question. It's hard to say. We don't know what we don't know, but I am certain that there is increased efforts by foreign actors to intervene in the U.S. election. Because we are more polarized at this moment in our political, this kind of political moment, it leaves us vulnerable, I think, to foreign operations that are effectively using the fragmented information environment that we have today, plus artificial intelligence, to sow further misunderstandings, misinformation, dissent. And that leaves us vulnerable. And that's some of the intention, I think, of some of these foreign influence actors.
Tara, do you have a sense of who's most susceptible here?
You know, right now it seems to be that the Democrats are most susceptible, because it seems to be that in terms of the foreign players, they really are targeting activities that would ensure that a Democrat would lose, that Democrats potentially could lose Congress, that sort of thing. And I think because they see Trump as being more favorable, you know, in terms of Putin, in terms of Trump's views of NATO, in terms of support for Ukraine. So I think right now they're more susceptible. But I think the broader sense is that young people are more susceptible. I was really stunned to see sort of the level of information that young people get from, and when I say young people, 18 to 29-year-olds, that they get the vast majority of their quote-unquote news information from social media, which was just sort of amazing to me. But even with that being said, 53% of all Americans get some of their news from social media. So I really see that there are certain components of the American public that are more susceptible, and certainly in terms of the political parties, it's the Democrats.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, this question of who's susceptible and to what, I think, is what's really important. Like, we know there's lots of disinformation out there about the elections, but I think the key question, I don't really know, maybe Jenny, you do, is like, does it really change people's votes? How does it affect voters and elections? And from what I just sort of observe is that it's this sort of flood of disinformation. It makes people distrust any sorts of information. So I think sort of the problem is sort of broader, right? That it makes people lose faith in journalists, right, in, you know, information that's actually reliable, right? And then the biggest issue around this, of course, I think was the 2020 election, how effective that disinformation campaign has been with Republicans. I mean, the percentage of Republicans who think the 2020 election was stolen is really alarming, and that undermines confidence in our elections, which is such a, a bedrock of democracy. So I don't know exactly how it operates, but it does seem to kind of it leads to a greater distrust of institutions.
Nina?
Yeah, I'm so happy that Jenny has joined the panel so you can help us going forward in understanding these issues, because I have this very strong conviction that if we were able to change the nature of our political discourse so that we're not focusing on personality, who said what, who's nice and who's mean, but rather policy, that might make social media information less susceptible to manipulation and interference. And the other thing is, for us, given what Tara said about young folk really relying disproportionately on social media, for us as instructors to teach our students how to discern the difference between fact and fiction, to know what is a reliable source of information and what isn't. And so if we basically make our voters, our students in particular, smarter thinkers, then maybe that is at least partially a response to the manipulation.
Jenny, I'd like for you to share a little bit about your research on how politicians' names are being used in scamming people? Because I found this fascinating.
So we've been collecting ads on Facebook and Instagram to see what advertisers on that platform are saying when they mention any of the candidates running for president. And the reason we're looking at Facebook and Instagram is because it's a micro-targeted advertising platform. So it's strategic messaging targeted to small pockets of the population, and it's really invisible. It's hard, it's not broadcast, it's narrowcast. So one of the things we unearthed in the analysis we completed from a collection of ads that ran from September until April is a fairly large, coordinated, inauthentic network of advertisers that are mentioning, say, Donald Trump, and talking about, if you are a true supporter of Donald Trump, now is your chance. Click on this poll, share your support for Trump, and in exchange, we'll get you a Make America Great Again flag.
Wow, so this is a problem.
It's a flag. It's a problem because the people give their credit card information, and then it turns out there's a little fine print. They keep getting charged $80 a month.